Good morning. All right, so picture this. It's January 2020. I'm on sabbatical from 7 long, strong, well-earned years at Cal Poly. I have all kinds of plans to travel and do research, and then boom, we all know what happens. And I find myself with something very unusual as a scientist, time on my hands. And instead of being able to go to Guam and study brown tree snakes and the Bahamas to study iguanas, all the things I had planned, I'm stuck in my house, and I decide to begin some research on rattlesnakes. I actually was able to sneak over to use that time to start studying some rattlesnakes in Colorado, where, again, picture this. There's a peak in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by prairie, about 8,000 feet. You walk up there, beautiful panoramic views, there's bears, there's elk. If you look down at your feet, there's a pile of 1,000 rattlesnakes. I'm not kidding. There's at least 2,000 rattlesnakes on this tiny peak that's about the size of, half the size of a football pitch. It's incredible. Most people's version of hell, my version of heaven. So my colleague and I decided, let's take advantage of this and let's learn about what these secretive animals do. So we put cameras on these snakes, time-lapse cameras. They took photos every 5 minutes. And then we left for the summer and we came back and downloaded those in the fall. Why is this interesting? It's because the females stay behind on these peaks while everyone else goes out into the prairie to hunt. The females give birth, and they do these mysterious things with their babies. We don't know much about it. So we get back, we download the pictures, and we go, oy, there's 100,000 photos. What are we gonna do? We first start scratching our heads thinking we need to figure out some way to get people to help us. But then we realized it's more of an opportunity. We realized, you know what? This is an opportunity to allow people who don't have access to science to learn about science. This is something called citizen science or community science, where people who are maybe across the globe, people who are sitting in a classroom here in San Luis Obispo, or people with disabilities who can't hike up the hill to be able to see something like this, have an opportunity to be able to see something as amazing as this and act as scientists. And in fact, we have a third opportunity here, which is, as my mentor Harry Green said, you know, rattlesnakes are really misunderstood. Everything you see on TV, like Animal Planet, shows them as being these horrible animals who are trying to bite you. They get a bum rap. Is this an opportunity to show people, you know, them doing what they actually do, which is things like caring for their babies? Did you all know that rattlesnakes are good mothers? They have little umbilical cords, live birth, they don't lay eggs. They take care of their babies, they defend them. Absolutely fascinating stuff that's really hard to study in person. We have an opportunity. So, Project Ralcam was born from this. We started a community science project on the host called Zooniverse, in which we now have over 2,000 volunteers who are analyzing these photos for us. They're seeing things never before seen to science. We haven't even seen them. They're seeing things like when the babies appear. We've learned that the babies are thirsty from the moment they're born, and when they come out, when it rains, they curl themselves up into little balls and drink off of their own backs. We've seen how the mothers protect the babies from things like magpies and hawks that are trying to come in and eat the little snake sausage smorgasbord. We're about halfway done with this project right now. It takes thousands of people, many, many, many hours to do this. We've developed teacher materials for high school students and college students. We have a blog. We have all kinds of things that are fascinating for Project Rattlecam, and you can go to www.centralcoastsnakeservices.com and find that Project Rattlecam information. But wait, there's more. After watching this and looking at these little clips from a time-lapse camera, I realized, wouldn't it be neat to have something similar to what they put on bird nest cams, or where you can actually watch them live streaming. So this summer, we actually deployed the first ever live streaming camera on a rattlesnake rookery, we call it. It's a communal nest where the mothers get together to have their babies, right here in San Luis Obispo County. And my students named the snakes. Their names were like Macaroni and Raven, these female rattlesnakes. We waited for them to give birth, and they did. We watched the mothers and the babies all hanging out together, and people from around the globe would watch live on YouTube and comment about how it changed their minds about snakes. What's the point? The point of this is to really use technology that we have nowadays to try to show people that rattlesnakes, we don't have to love rattlesnakes like I do, but we should respect rattlesnakes, okay? And in fact, I wanted to share with you a comment from one of the many people whose minds were changed about rattlesnakes. When we turned off the live stream when the snakes went underground for the winter, I miss the Rattle Cam. I have a very unreasonable fear of snakes, even garter snakes, and even large worms. Rattle Cam had my curiosity piqued, and I faithfully checked on the snakes every day. And I have to admit, I found the babies snuggled up to their moms adorable. I came to realize the moms were just trying to have their babies just like anything else. I'm still petrified. I don't want to find one. I always will be this way. But I have new respect for them. And so I encourage you all, if you're interested or if you know someone who might be, to check out Project Rattlecam. You can find out about that on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rattlecams. And you can find more information on my local consulting agency's website, centralcoastsnakeservices.com. Thank you.